At Amplify, we've eliminated all banking fees, so you can enjoy more of life's extras. No fees equals more guac. Amplify.
Hello and welcome to the Women of Austin podcast. I'm your host, Mindy Hofman. Today we have part 2 of a special 2-part series that we are doing with Lizzie Velasquez and Sara Hirsh Bordo. Thank you guys so much for being here still.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you.
It's been a long 2 weeks, but I am comfortable here.
Yes,
Me
well,
too.
none of us have changed.
There was no need.
It feels like the blink of an eye.
It really does.
So cozy.
It really does.
My name is Lizzie Velasquez, and I am from Austin, Texas. I am a motivational speaker and author. I was born and raised in Austin, and Austin will always hold a very, very special place in my heart. I have the great privilege of being able to travel the world, but being able to come back home to Austin to tell my story here is something that I take as a huge honor every single time I get the chance to do it. So to be here and to take this opportunity to share the things that I've learned while growing up here in Austin, it's very special to me.
Hi, I'm Sara Hirsh Bordo, and I'm from Austin, Texas. I am the filmmaker and founder of Women Rising, which is a female empowerment production company. I'm proud to be a part of the Women at Austin podcast because it shows that storytelling is about leadership. It's about thought leadership. And so the fact that Mindy and her fantastic team are uniting women to tell stories and what they've learned about their lives in hopes of inspiring other women, it just allows Austin to be one more way at the head of the pack.
So where we left off, we talked about the TEDx Austin Women 10-year anniversary. And we talked about the film that you guys did together, your documentary, and we are about to get to the Women's March. How's that sound?
Sure.
Good.
Let's do it. Let's dive in. So, Sara, you had you ever produced a live event before the Women's March?
I had.
Okay.
I had produced a couple, but not at that size. Yeah. And so I was asked to direct and produce the rally. So that was everything that was from the stage.
Wow.
And, when you're saying yes to activist kind of work, especially on the heels of such an emotional election and kind of heartbeat moment for the country, for the women of the country. I think that, if you had asked me, how did everybody come together? I don't remember. I just remember it coming together like it was supposed to.
Yeah.
And, we did that in like less than 6 weeks, I think, putting that together. And it was this great unifier. There are moments in the country that are great unifying moments, and that was one of them. And, Lizzie can tell the story if she likes, but obviously she was one of the ones that we all hoped that would come and speak. Because the Women's March, I think when I was asked to do it, the main reason that I said yes was that I wanted it to be a rally.
Yeah.
I did not have any interest in producing a protest. And I think as it relates to the work that I do with Women Rising, and I've always tried to say yes to and to bring forward for other women and girls to experience, is that I didn't want you angrier when you left. I didn't than when you came. I didn't want you more upset. I didn't want you to feel more hopeless after experiencing the talks and the energy from the stage. I wanted you to come in where you were.
Yeah.
And I wanted to leave you with a feeling of hope and that everything can be okay because we're all in it together.
I didn't think about that. I'd never thought about it like that, but it could so easily go the other way.
In many places around the world, it was that other way.
Wow.
And that was perfect for, everyone. When you're directing something and bringing a vision forward, you're doing it with an intention, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And for me, I was really intentional I wanted men on stage, but I wanted them with women in their lives. I didn't want them coming and, taking it as a political moment for them. I wanted them to be present and speak on behalf of the women in their lives. So I had many men on stage, and, we worked really hard to make sure it wasn't angry, that it was uplifting as possible.
It seems like you succeeded. Did I have that it was the biggest march or the biggest gathering of women?
It ended up being the largest gathering of women in Texas history.
Amazing.
No big deal.
No big deal. Yeah. And what was it, 6 months you had to put it together?
6 weeks.
6 weeks, sorry. No big deal. 6 weeks. Wow. That's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So
honored to have done it.
When was that from when the TED?
So the Women's March was in January of 2017. The election was obviously in November of 2016. Mm-hmm. And I came in at the end of November.
Wow.
So that was our film was distributed in 2015.
Now, since then, I want to hear more about how you guys have evolved. Lizzie, you had been speaking before the TEDx, and then after everything changed and you had your film, and I just kind of want to hear about what's different for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
How much time do we have?
Really? My life completely went, it was like night and day of how much it changed. I think up until our last event for the film, I don't know when it was, but our last event, prior to that, everything was sort of laid out and planned. So I never had a time of...
How you like it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I never had a time of what am I going to do next? Or trying to brainstorm or do whatever, because I always knew once I'm done with this, then I'm going to do this. And once this is done, then I'm doing this. And so once we stopped with the film, which we had been living and breathing 24/7, and I knew who I was going to be around every single day. I literally knew what I was going to be talking about every day. And it was just such a routine that it became so normal. And we became such a family, I think, more so because we were the only ones that knew exactly what it was like to go through what we were going through behind the scenes and figuring everything out. And there was just so much happening that when my world sort of pressed pause, I was completely lost. And I was good for about 2 weeks, because I was able to finally catch up on sleep and catch up on whatever shows. And it just so happened at that time, I had graduated college. I moved back with my parents while we were filming. And then also while we were filming, I got my first apartment on my own with no roommates. And back then there was no Uber or anything. And also at the time, I've always had a super close group of girlfriends, but it got to a point where I was gone so often that we sort of, I just stopped, inviting me places. And it wasn't to be mean, it's just because I was never there.
Yeah.
But then there was also, when I would go see my friends, it was, I wanted to know about their life. And it was a lot of, well, it's nothing compared to what you're doing. Tell us what you're doing. And so it just felt like I didn't want to talk about myself. I just wanted to talk about other things. And so I was good for about 2 weeks. And then after that, it was like, now what? Because now I have this platform that's bigger than ever. Now I have responsibilities that I put on myself, which was regularly keeping up with my posts and responding. And at that time, I was still feeling like I need to live up to the positive, happy version of myself, because clearly that's what people are liking and it's working. But in reality, I don't know what I'm doing. And the guilt set in because it was like, I'm feeling sad and depressed, but I literally just had a movie made about my life and playing in a theater and on TV. And I've traveled the whole world doing the job that I completely love. And now I'm sitting here sad and feeling sorry for myself. And so that sort of just led to a not so great time at all. It got pretty scary. I think it was just that's the other thing. When we were filming, I was with Sarah and my mom, and we were filming in Spain. And on our last day, they sat me down at lunch and said, my genetic doctor called and said he had my official diagnosis. And so that was when I was 25. So when you live your life for 25 years as a question mark, and finally someone's like, hey, I'm going to take the question mark away, my two options now were, moving forward, am I going to be a period at the end of a sentence, or am I going to try to figure out how to make my life an exclamation point? And so figuring that out was something I just put in the back of my head because we were so busy. And during the time once everything stopped, I really started processing everything. And I let all of the fear of the possibilities of my heart, it hit me. And the thoughts of, I don't want to make the people in my life wait to find out if something bad was going to happen to me. And I'd never had those thoughts before, despite everything else I've gone through.
Yeah.
And so I thought I was hiding it well, but I wasn't. And my sister found out, and she told my parents that I was having a hard time. And I remember them saying, we're going to call Sarah and she's going to come over. And that was like my big thing. I was like, don't tell her. I don't want her to know. And so she came over, I think. I don't really remember much of it, but
I was there.
yeah. And it was just a really, really hard time. And I think picking myself back up from that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But it was something that I needed to do because I needed to prove to myself that I'm not always positive and happy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. And so that also led to me being very vulnerable with my social media and opening up, and the response that I got was like a giant warm hug from a million strangers.
Yeah.
Because it was another reminder of they're not in my shoes, but they know exactly what I'm going through. And they're still going to like me if I tell them I'm not doing well. And so that sort of led into a whole new chapter of my life, and being honest and picking myself back up and saying I need to decide what I'm going to do. And so that led to me really just having to be an adult and admit when I need help and admit that I need to take a hold of my career and my life. And for so long, I was so comfortable with Sarah or anyone else doing the talking for me. And I would tell her if I didn't want to do something or if I didn't like anything, and I wouldn't actually say it. And eventually over time, she started putting me in the situations where I was the one to ask for things or lead the conversation. And it was always so scary, but it always felt so great at the end. And so I took baby steps into finding my voice. And since then, I think I finally found it. And now I'm enjoying putting it at full volume.
Yay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing all of that. That is so beautiful.
But yeah, that's it. That's all that happened.
Yeah, no big deal. Now, Sara, how does that make you feel to hear her say all that? You lived through it with her.
Well, you and I we were all talking about this a little bit before we started filming, about how Lizzie and I would say that the piece of our relationship that I'm most grateful for is the fact that we can experience being a little bit of a chain breaker together. We don't have mentors. Neither of us really do. There aren't women in our family or our friend group who have really done these paths before, and when Lizzie was struggling, I had gone through my own experience, because after the film came out, what I've just written about felt almost like creative postpartum. My creative baby was out. People were touching it and talking about it and reviewing it and posting it places and grading it, and I hated it. Oof. It was brutal. And kind of like what Lizzie said was so vulnerably and so beautifully was, our movie has just played in the 36th country. It has won 11 out of 11 festivals. Why am I crying? Yet we both were crying in our own way. And for me, it was, can I just put it back up there? Like, I don't want it out there. Like, I loved it when it was just in here. And because, again, I don't have biological children, there was this element of intimacy about this creative baby that was really hard for me to see free in the world without me.
Wow. I feel like what describes that perfectly, like once I started talking about, like needing help or saying I was depressed or whatever, it sort of felt like those are things you want to keep to yourself and you don't want to say it. But then when you finally do, it feels like if you imagine filling a suitcase with all of your most special secret treasures and you put it out there, but you're not allowed to take the suitcase back or zip it back up. Because it's already been there. That's what it felt like for me.
That's a very good...
That's exactly how it felt. I mean, like, it was this, I'm so grateful, yet I am experiencing tremendous grief and tremendous loss. And why is this? And interestingly enough, every single time, whether it's been a march or a film or a commercial, I have the exact same experience every time.
Wow. Does it get easier?
Yes, because I know it's coming.
And how to handle it.
And
your triggers.
And my triggers, I do. And in the to the Tao of Lizzie Velasquez, the wise thing about, I give myself a day and I'll feel as low as I want to. And I learned that from her. And then I get to say, okay,
that's enough.
That's enough. And sometimes I won't lie. I think it's because I'm 5 times your weight, but I might give myself 3 of those days.
I mean, I'm sure I do too. I'm sure I do too. I think
how sweet of you that you only need 1. I need more.
The luxury.
Since 1997, Dave's Ultimate Automotive has been the go-to automotive repair shop for drivers that want the ultimate experience. Designed to be the alternative to the unsatisfactory dealership visit, Dave's has provided Austinites with honest, high-quality automotive services at a fair price with a focus on customized service experience for each client. You will get your vehicle back running right with the peace of mind that comes with a nationwide 3-year warranty. Visit Dave'sUltimateAutomotive.com and become a part of the Dave's family today. Hi, my name is Mindy Hofman, and I'm the founder of Women of Austin. Thank you for joining us for part 2 of this special set of episodes with Sara Hirsh Bordo and Lizzie Velasquez. I'm so excited to have these women on, and I love you for tuning in. Today, we're shooting at Eberly on South Lamar. Eberly is an amazing space. If you've not been here, you should definitely come and check it out. They have great food and drinks and atmosphere, and they would love to see you.
You know, I think we are living in a time, and obviously you're one of them with this work, we are simply living in a time where women are stepping forward courageously and bravely in new paths that are dusty and alone and valiant, because they just have to do it. They have to say it, they have to write it, they have to create it, because they believe it's why they're here. They believe it's the kind of light they want to shine. And I think for both of us, you know, luckily, we really found out a little bit clearer of each of our dharma, you know, life paths that you're meant to kind of go through these tests in order to live out in the light and service of other people. Yeah. I think we've both found our paths, and luckily, and thank every single God and goddess for it, we have each other to go through this with, because it is a unique and different path and resource of great comfort and belonging that I think we both keep feeling 10 years down the road together.
I appreciate you guys being so honest and vulnerable about these feelings, because from the outside looking in, if I look at both of your resumes on bios on a piece of paper, it's all these awards and travel and speaking, and
it's all true though.
Yeah.
That's all true.
Yeah.
I think,
and so is this.
There's this idea that, like, because one is true, another can't be true. And I think being able to say, like, yes, I have all of these things. I'm so grateful for them, and they're so amazing. But I don't know how to word this. I don't feel like those are who I am. And that isn't what I strive to do.
Same.
Yes.
And so I feel like the work still needs to be done.
Same.
And no matter how many speeches I do, whatever I do, it's not going to be enough, because I have this passion of being a resource for someone else, because I have had so many resources in my entire life, from my parents, from literally day one when I was born, to being in school, to being a young woman, to now being a woman and learning how to use my voice in the right way. And I shy away from confrontation, and learning that it's okay to say that's not okay with me has been fun with the question mark, because it's empowering.
A different gear.
Yes. Yeah, it's empowering.
Yes.
And it's not like I used to live my life by where I would agree. I said yes to everything. Everything I said yes to, and I would completely burn myself out. And finally, I started realizing that I'm not giving what I want to be giving, because I'm already thinking about the next thing. So to be able to give myself 100% to whatever it is I'm doing, because that's a privilege in itself, because how lucky am I that someone is asking me to do things. Like, what an honor it is to be here. Like, your time is wanting us here, and that's something that's important and special and should be honored. And I'm that's how I sort of treat everything now.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, and it sounds like I just do all of these things and I make all these decisions, and I don't. It's definitely not like that at all.
All while eating chicken strips.
Yeah. It's just, I was, it's a side thing.
Go ahead.
I was laughing because my family watches the priest at our church, his puppy. We watch him a lot. And there are times where I get so obsessed with just dressing him up and taking pictures of him. And it dawns on me that, like, people are, like, thinking that I'm an inspiration and doing all these super great things. And meanwhile, I'm just, like, taking pictures of a little tiny dog hat.
Because it's fun for you.
Because it makes me happy.
Yes. Yes.
I get that. Oh, and I met the dog.
He's very
Yes.
cute.
Oh my gosh.
He's so cute.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, you just got to be you, and remember like that no matter if you're speaking in front of, thousands of people, you go home and you're still you, and there's still more people that you can reach. I think that's kind of what the impression that I'm getting. And
I think that the other thing is, like, everything that we just talked about, it's all career-wise.
Yeah.
And there's still this whole other side of our personal lives. And often it's easy, if you are drowning yourself with your work, to let your work become who you are. And that becomes your personality of, I'm always busy, or I'm doing this or that, or like, look at me do this. And neither of us, that's not our way of doing anything. So to be able to try to balance both has been difficult and has been a big learning lesson. But it brings a whole nother set of things that we have to learn and work on, because in our career, we have these goals and we set them and we're excited and we get to do all these things. But then in our personal life, for me personally, I often will be on social media and think I'm not living up to the social expectations of a certain age that I see.
Oh,
and I get caught up in that. And that's when I have to remind myself of, like, who made these rules? Who says you have to do this at this age? Or who says you can't go do this at this age? And why am I listening to that? And why am I feeling sorry for myself? Because I'm not doing what someone else thinks I should be doing, when in reality, they're not even thinking about me. They're thinking about themselves. So why am I stressing myself out?
I love that point. They're not even thinking about me. They're thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
Once I got a little bit older and I realized I'd be so worried about what other people would think.
Yeah.
Someone's like, they're just thinking about them. They're not thinking about you. And I was like,
Yeah.
everything changed.
Yeah.
I think so. You and I are a little bit different. You've always been more ambitious than I have.
How so?
Well, like you just said, you've always, we have you were putting me in this bucket. There's a reason I'm bringing it up, because you said, we have all these goals. We have all these things that we want to do. And I've never thought about my work like that. There's a train going by,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Choo choo.
So I've never known really where I'm going. Now, for the first time in my career, in life, I'm 46 years old. Like I think I know where I'm headed now and what I want to do next. So that feels a new gear of ambition that is saved for lots of other people who know how much money they want to make, the C-suite office, how many covers of magazines and all this stuff. I've just never looked at my work that way, not ever. But I think the other thing that you brought up about social, I've never been on it and very good at it, as we painfully know. And I think the transparency and the bravery it takes to say, like, I'm putting this out there because it feels true to Sara, or it feels true to Lizzie, or it feels true to Mindy. A teacher of mine told me the most powerful people on the planet are the people that are uninterested in if what they say or do disappoints anyone.
Wow.
And that's really how I try to the best of my ability. I think that we especially as women, especially as Southern women, you know, have this beautifully orchestrated ease of self-deprioritization, self-compromise, you know, gymnastics of the identity just to make other people comfortable, just to make other people feel seen, just to put other people first. Because if we don't prioritize others that way, we're not a good girl and we're disappointments.
I used to do that all the time.
Oh, I think we all did.
I used to do it.
And so
All the time.
that is what I would say in the evolution dialogue.
Yeah.
I'm completely uninterested in that anymore.
Hell yeah.
It is not what I am here to do or live behind. I think those kinds of boundaries, if that is as loud in your mind as, what do I need? What do I want? What would make me comfortable today? And only those kinds of questions while keeping everybody around you safe. That's the journey. That, I think, is the moment that we're in. That's the moment I think we can choose to step in.
I want to be there. I love that.
Word. Let's all live in that bathtub.
Yeah. Rewatch this and take some notes. Like that was like put them on my sticky notes on my mirror. That is just.
And I think that's why it's like for the first time ever, it's like, oh, I think I have things to say. And I think that's why, and Lizzie has been a huge part of making me feel confident and secure enough to write for the first time.
Yes.
I know.
It's hard.
It's so
Yeah. So
It's so
Lizzie,
hard.
you have 4 books, and Sarah, you're working on 1, correct?
Yes.
I am.
Yeah.
Correct. That's
You
really
say that proudly.
I am. I'm writing my first book.
It's been a fun, so far, it's been a fun role switch
Yeah.
because I was the student for so many years and Sarah was the teacher. And now we're switching and it's fun. And now I'm enjoying being like the leader.
Oh, and I'm loving having someone who knows in this very omnipotent, omniscient kind of, like, she has such sovereignty over using your voice magnificently that, like, I really am the lucky one in this outfit.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks. It's fun when I do something like when I'm able to like if I like handle a deal or do something that's like
Say that phrase again.
on my own. What?
Handle a deal.
Okay. No, it sounds weird.
No, I want you to say it again because, like, that is total evolution from where you and I started.
I know, because there's so many times where we would go into places or go on a call and I would just hide behind her.
She lit behind my body.
Oh,
Oh, I really
like,
would.
literally.
Literally, because I didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy now that I say that.
And
out
then
loud.
I would put someone on hold. I would ask her, what do you think about this? And then you would tell me in a whisper. And then I would hit unmute. And then I would help
or if
her
we
with
were
the
on a
deal.
conference call, I would be texting her, I don't like that, or I like this. But now, when I'm able to like handle it from start to
Handle a
finish
deal.
and deal with, something that I
so proud.
don't agree with her, it's fun to say,
Ugh.
like, guess what I just did?
Yeah.
I know. And she'll
really
text me
laughing.
after them. Look what I did.
It's
So
fun.
I'm so proud.
Oh, I can't wait to get those texts from you.
Oh my God.
Look what I did.
God willing.
They're coming.
Ah.
Well, lucky for us readers, we get to learn more about,
Wow. Thank you.
like,
You should do an audiobook.
oh, yeah.
You said that was so hard.
It was. It was.
I remember you were
It
reading
was
it
so
here.
hard. It took me 3 days.
Respectfully, didn't it take a little longer than that? That is so fast.
Oh no, it was 3 days. It was because I had to get it done because like doing it longer was
I remember that.
it was a lot. I think I was at a point where I had
You're out of wind, weren't you? Out of wind.
For my fourth book, I've always wanted to do an audiobook. I love audiobooks. And so I finally was able to do one. Oh my gosh, the process is so difficult because you're sitting in a room and you're literally reading your entire book line for line. And there's a producer in your ear saying, like, you said this word wrong. And instinctively, I'm like, no, I didn't.
I wish I had been able to do that for you.
Oh my gosh.
Because that sounds really
And so I would
gnarly.
just say, okay, and do it over. But in my head, I'm like, I didn't say that wrong. Or you didn't pause after a period. Or that didn't sound like a question.
Wow, strict
And
business.
so it's a lot. I mean, it's so fun. Everyone should do it.
Okay.
I think you should do it.
You're really selling it for her.
I know.
Well, I hope that I can.
I thought it was really funny though when I was done on my first day, the producer was like, okay, now make sure you're not singing loudly once you go home, that you don't talk a lot, make sure you're not yelling. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, well, we are almost out of time.
Mindy, this has been such a treat. Hasn't it
It
been
has
such
been.
a
Oh,
treat?
this has been so much fun. I feel like I got to come into your little world for a while, and it's such a beautiful place.
Thanks
It's
for
like
being
riding a
it.
bike.
It's like riding a bike.
Oh, you guys are so fabulous. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
here.
for giving
you.
us the chance to unite again.
I was going to say that. I was going to say reunite, but unite again. Same thing.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to do it again. Like,
Yes.
we'll check in on your book, and Lizzie, we'll see what's going on.
knows
Who
what I'll be
knows?
doing?
Who knows?
Who
Well,
really knows?
You still haven't done the. Lizzie has always dreamed. This has been an ambition of yours to do a children's animated series
ooh.
For a very, very
for a very long time,
long
and I really want her to do it. I'm putting it out
What?
there. I'm putting that out there in here.
I think what Sarah was saying, how she was really nervous after the movie came out for people to see it.
Yeah.
I would want to do that, but then it scares me that people are going to see it.
Well, then I can be back in the teacher role
I was
again.
gonna say, yeah. Once Sarah's book's out, then you can swap.
I have I have
the
tricks
whole,
now.
Like, this whole thing is just because when I was in elementary school, my dad was a teacher at the time. And I would, of course, be like bullied and teased and stuff. And so we developed this routine where he would go in and introduce me to my new class at the beginning of the year. This is Lizzie, this is who she is, blah, blah, blah. And it helped because kids are afraid of what they don't know, and what they do know, they understand and they get used to. And so it really helped a lot with the kids in my class. Yeah. And so my dream is to have this kids series where each episode is focused on a kid who has either a visible or invisible condition. And maybe they're autistic and nonverbal, or, just giving different ways to handle it in hopes of the book being the same example that my dad did with me.
Lizzie.
I know.
Lizzie, the world needs this.
I've been trying to get her to do a one-pager so that I can help shop
so
it.
hard.
She's not ready yet.
I am.
She'll be ready when she's ready.
Yeah. Well, we'll be
You can't
waiting.
force it.
At a very random time, I will do it, because that's when I do all my best work, at very random
1
times.
a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you at 1 a.m. Yeah. Introducing the new Women of Austin community. You asked, we answered. We have created a special online community where we can stay connected between events without the distractions of your typical social media platforms. You'll find exclusive content, in-person member-only events, discounts from local businesses, and so much more. Become a founding member today at womenofaustincommunity.com. Women of Austin would like to thank our community sponsors. Hot Works Austin Lakeline at Anderson Mill Road and FM 620. Dave's Ultimate Automotive. Visit davesultimateautomotive.com and become a part of the Dave's family today. Magic Robot, magicrobot.com. Elite Marquee and Events at Elite Marquee Austin. Well, if you want to learn more about any of the fabulous things that we have been talking about, I'm going to put all the links in the description. And we really appreciate you for watching. And thank you again for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women of Austin podcast. A new episode premieres twice a month right here on the Women of Austin channel. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you never miss an episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at women_of_Austin. My name is Mindy Hofman. I hope you'll join us for our next episode of the Women of Austin podcast.